Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, November 13th, and I have three NBA player props for you guys to hammer for today's NBA betting slate. What I love about the NBA season is that you can hammer player props pretty much on a daily basis, and that is exactly what I do on this YouTube channel. I try to get out as many as I can. My general strategy for NBA player prop betting is to find plays that I like, but instead of taking them at the main line, I pump those numbers up a little bit in hopes of getting really juicy odds for really juicy payouts. It's been a hit or miss season to start the NBA. It's been on fire for the NFL. The NBA, I'm still working my way up, but I will say we've had two straight profitable days betting on NBA player props, which is great. Last game, I had three picks. This was on Friday. I had three picks. I got one of those three to cash, but thanks to the odds, we end the day with a slight profit up 0.5 units. That brings our total profit season to date on these NBA player props to above 4 units. So again, I was hit or miss for about the first 10 days or so, but have had two straight profitable days. Just 2 days ago, two videos ago, I hit all three of my NBA player props, which was very, very nice. So let's hope that we can continue this hot streak for tonight. Real quick, before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that thumbs up. Make sure to comment as well. Let me know your thoughts, whether you're tailing, fading, whatever it may be. I love hearing all the feedback. And we can get into today's picks. We're ready to get pumped up. Play number one. This is in the Wizards versus Raptors game. We're taking Scotty Barnes, 25 plus points, plus 220 odds at FanDuel. So overall, Scotty Barnes has been awesome this year. He's had an incredible start. He has slowed down a little bit the past two games. In those two games, he scored 14 points against the Mavericks in a win against the Mavericks, and then 10 points in a loss against the Celtics. So you guys that have been following me along on my channel know what that means. It's an excellent time to buy back in on Scotty Barnes. Prior to that, he had been awesome. So his main line for this game is 20.5. So if you want to be safe, take him at the main line. It's at 20.5. Prior to this two-game stretch, he had gone over that number in 5 of 6 games. So he had been legitimately, for his over-under, on fire. In that stretch, that includes a 30-point performance against the Spurs and two 24-point performances against the Sixers. So one game in which he hit the 25-plus points, two games in which he was literally 1 point away against a good defense in the Sixers. So for this game specifically, I think that there is a lot in favor of him to go off. And a lot of it has to do with the matchup. The Wizards' defense, admittedly better than they were to start the year, is still an absolute joke. They give up the second most points per game at 123.8, and they have the fifth worst defensive net rating as well. But the reason why I always love targeting players to go over their point total against the Wizards is because they play at such a fast pace. They literally play at the fastest pace in the entire NBA, and they do that at a very wide margin as well. There's a huge gap between them and the second fastest team. Now, I will admit that the Raptors do play at a little bit of a slower pace, but generally, when the Wizards play, they turn games into a track meet, even against teams that have a slower pace. So it might not be, one of the fastest paces ever, but I do expect this to be a fast-paced game. I expect a lot of possessions in this one for both teams. Last game in which he only scored 10 points against the Celtics, this is obviously going back to Scotty Barnes, he attempted 8 3-pointers, and he only made 2 of them. Now he gets the benefit of going up against a bad Wizards defense who also give up a lot of 3-pointers, also have a high percentage of 3-pointers made against them. So I expect Scotty Barnes to have a ton of easy looks just in transition, going to the basket, and then also from deep. I also like his pumped up threes. So if you want to take that as well and double down on Scotty Barnes, that worked last time I did that with Luka. We doubled down on his points and 3-pointers. He cashed both for us. I'm only going to track the points whether he hits it or not, but as a bonus, an honorable mention, I do like Scotty Barnes pumped up 3-pointers as well as our first play, but we just need him to get 25 plus points for plus 220 odds. If he hits it, we just need that and we will be profitable. Let's hope we can get more. Next up, in the Bulls versus Bucks game, we are taking Zach LaVine, 4 plus made 3-pointers, plus 260 odds at FanDuel. So I will admit it's been a rough go of it recently for LaVine and then also the Bulls. The record isn't like an abomination by any means. They're 4-6, but they just look lost, and the Bulls have looked lost for years. In terms of not performing well, the same has been true for LaVine. He's made 2 or fewer 3-pointers in 4 of his last 5 games, so it hasn't been great. But the thing is, prior to that, he had an awesome 3-game stretch where 2 of which he made one game he made 5, another game he made 7. In that 3-game stretch, he made a combined 13 3-pointers, 12 of which obviously coming in those 2 games. Since that stretch, it hasn't been great. A game against the Mavericks in which the Bulls, they attempted 9 3-pointers, or Levine attempted 9 3-pointers. That was on November 1st. Since then, he has yet to attempt more than 6 in a game. I'm projecting that to swing back the other way in this one. The Bucks defense has had a pretty rough start to the year. Obviously, when you replace Dame with Drew Holiday, you kind of accept that, but it's been brutal, the Bucks defense, considering they have championship expectations. They're not on the Wizards level, but they're very much not good. They're 20th in the NBA in terms of 3-point attempts allowed at 36.8. Their opponents make 13.6 of those per game, which is 26th, so they allow the 5th most made 3-pointers. And the opponents in general shoot 36.9% against the Bucks, against the Bucks, which is 22nd. So all those numbers aren't, again, the worst in the league, but they're below average. They're bottom third in the NBA across the board in terms of 3-point attempts. And just looking at Levine's career, unless this is going to be a down year for him in general compared to every other year in his career, he's consistently shooting between 7 and 8 3-pointers per game, while consistently shooting in terms of percentages in the high 30s or even making over 40% one year. This year, he's only shooting 32.4% from deep, and he hasn't attempted more than 6 in over a week. So the expectation here is that that's just simply not going to continue. So I will bet on the bounce back, Zach LaVine to make 4, plus 260 odds. Again, if we just get one of these to hit, we are making money, but if we get multiple, we will be rich. Last pick, same game, Bulls versus Bucks. We're taking Damian Lillard, 5+ made 3-pointers. This is at plus 300 odds at FanDuel. Now, this is definitely the juiciest one in terms of odds. I will say, last time I went out, my juiciest play was the one that hit. So don't just be scared off just because it's the juiciest play in terms of odds. So in terms of risk, I will say that there is definitely risk involved in this one. First of all, the injury note, Dame has missed the past couple days with an injury, but he's currently listed as probable. So I am expecting him to play. And it's been a hit or miss start for Dame and the Bucks in general. As I mentioned previously, their defense hasn't been good. And I'm not going to say that this one is without risk. So Damian Lillard has yet to make 5 3-pointers in a game so far this year. So this would be the first time that he would do it. He's made 4 twice. In every other game, he's made 2 or fewer. But with that said, I do think that there are a lot of reasons to believe in Damian Lillard having a good game tonight. Number one, he's been shooting so much. He's still been shooting a ton, and he's been shooting so poorly that based on the type of player that he is, he's going to have one of these games where he makes 7 of 10 from deep, something ridiculous. The past 2 games alone, he's attempted 20 3-pointers, and he's only made 4 out of those 20. He's made 2 in each game. On the year, he's shooting 29.3% from deep. Damian Lillard is shooting 29.3% from deep, which is very much not good. So I think those shooting splits are going to normalize. He's eventually going to, I'm guessing, I should say, he's going to end the year at probably a 37% 3-point shooter. So the fact that he's 29.3% from deep now means he's going to have a stretch where he's shooting 50% and above. That's how it works in the NBA. Players don't consistently shoot at whatever their percentage is. They have highs and they have lows. I also like the fact that they're playing the Bulls. The Bulls are the preeminent matchup that you want to target for opposing players to make 3-pointers. The Bulls allow the most 3-point attempts per game at 40.1. Opponents are making 15.2 attempts of those. So they're making 3.2 3-point attempts per game. That's third most in the NBA. And teams shoot 37.9%, which is 5th worst. Not good across the board, worse than the Bulls or the Bucks in that regard. The Bucks need Dame to get going. If they want to have any type of championship ceiling, they have to get Dame going. Perfect opportunity to do so against the Bulls in this one. If you want to take 4+, you can still get it at plus money if you don't want to be as risky as I am. Obviously, I decided to pump it up one number to get it to plus 300. So if only one of these 3 cash, we are at least profitable. But if you want to be safer, I wouldn't blame you. Again, we're just tracking 5+, and that's it. That runs out a third and final pick of the evening. 3 plays for you guys to hammer. If we get one of these 3 plays to hit, we will be profitable. If we get all 3 to hit, we will be rich. So let's hope for that. Appreciate everybody for watching. Again, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a good one.